Hi everyone, I'm Greg and today I'm doing my first video on Intro to AI. So many of you might think that AI is simply something that tries to mimic a form of human intelligence, correct? But before we begin, I want to share something that Alan Turing has defined. Okay, Alan Turing is a famous computer scientist. So he has defined AI by its capacity to exhibit behavior indistinguishable from a human. While that is true, I want to say that what AI is, for the simplicity of learning, is that AI is just mathematical probabilities. Okay? So by the way, I hope you guys know what your LLMs are, also known as your large language models. There are things like your Claude, ChatGPT, etc. Okay? So let's use the example that we all definitely know, ChatGPT. Let's say you give a query. That means you ask ChatGPT a question. What noise does a dog make? If you notice, every time ChatGPT gives you a response, it will come with the first word, the second word, the third word, and it generates these words sequentially. And I want you to know that this is because every subsequent word that's generated depends on the words before it. So the second depends on the first, the third word depends on the second and the first word, and so on. Okay? Why is this important? I want you to remember that there's conditionality involved. Let's continue. So let's say, for the simplicity of understanding how these large language models like ChatGPT works, imagine now GPT first receives this query. It wants to output the first word, right? Because I said that it generates word by word in a response. So the first word is simply the word with the highest probability in this dictionary. Okay, so let's say there are many words like with a probability of 0.15, another word with like, let's say, hi or hello, each with very low probabilities, right? 0.1, 0.01, 0.03, so on and so forth. And then there's this word with the highest probability, the, and it has maybe like a probability of like 0.8, for example. Okay, so what GPT does is that it picks this word with the highest probability as the first word it outputs. So the, okay? So there's this dictionary that is created, okay, just for the simplicity of understanding. There's this dictionary that's created given the current context of what ChatGPT knows, okay? And then from this dictionary, it picks the word with the highest probability. So let's say the first word that is picked with the highest probability is the word the. Okay, sorry, very small highlighter. The. Now GPT knows that, okay, I have this query and I have this word that I've outputted so far, which is the. The next word is chosen from a new dictionary given the current context that, hey, okay, I have this query plus I have outputted the word the so far. Now I get another dictionary with my current context. Okay, this is the context. Sorry, no battery. Context. Okay. Then I have a bunch of other random words in the dictionary again, each with an assigned probability. So let's say I have the word dog, right, with maybe the highest probability 0.9, and then I have other words like cat 0.002. Okay, the fish, maybe a fish, 0.001, and so on. And of course, the word with the highest probability is the word dog. So now, I pick the second word to be the word dog. So now, this process repeats, okay? As you can see, the context changes every time. The first context, when I output the word the, is simply just the question. The next context for the second word to be generated is the same question, but the previous word I have generated, which is the word the. right? So now, can you guess what is the next context? The next context is then the same query plus the word the plus the word dog. And then I will output my third word, and then the same process repeats, okay? With all the previous outputs generated so far. So your m plus 1th word, okay, this might be a bit confusing for non-computing backgrounds. Your m plus 1th word to be generated depends on the query plus the first word it has generated. Okay, so your first word all the way up to your nth word. And this is its context. And this process will repeat until you get your full response. Something like, okay, the dog barks. Okay, so as you can see, there is a form of conditional probability, which is why, simply put, a large language model like GPT is simply math probabilities which are conditional. So this is my first video to intro to AI, which I hope has given you an understanding that AI is actually just very mathematical, full of probabilities, and something that you can find interesting to delve into. Thank you.